So on February 20th, 2003, when the Secretary of the Navy's office went into contract with me as Commander-in-Chief, Postmaster General, and World Bank banker with the Global Banking Constitution Charter for commodity asset-based banking, the consequence and the causality of that was that the United States Postal Service, or the United States Navy, was in a juxtaposition of fact and fiction, to where they could join with the facts where it's relevant and ship their vessels from point A to point B, because they had a flag for joinder, because there was no United States. So the Navy can then engage in shipping because they were in contract with the lease on the flag, with me as the leaseholder. So they autographed the contract, they joined with the contract, and at the time, on February 20th, 2003, at the Secretary of the Navy's office with Seaman William Cullen Ball at Hansford T. Johnson's office, they were making a try to create joinder, and at the time they were correct. When I was at Interpol on June 16th, June 12th, 2003, Interpol joined with the Constitution, that I had rewritten their Constitution because it was fraudulently conveyed, and at the time they were correct. At the Vatican, they created joinder with me, but in that joinder it had disqualified their capacity for a C, SCE. So what they did is, when the next Pope died, they vacated the C Treaty and broke to 11 days on the conclave, vacating the continuance of evidence and ending the Vatican. And that's why now it's such chaos over there, because the Vatican has zero authorization to function as a control mechanism for our planet. When I left the Vatican and became Keymaster, Postmaster General, Commander-in-Chief, and Sovereign, I went to a meeting that I commanded performance on at Bern, Switzerland, at the Universal Postal Union, where David Cullen Miller and myself, Postmaster General Russell-J. Cullen Gould, sat with them for 3 hours, giving closure on what we had done with the grammar, who they were no longer, and who we were then now. Or now. Not then now, but now. And they concurred with it. They were very nervous, but they were very happy that the fact that we knew what we were doing. And they were cool with it. They didn't have to arrest us. They did have guards there to arrest us if we had made a mistake. We did not make a mistake that day. Left there, on terms basically saying, we know that your building and your vessel no longer has authorization to give clearance on contracts worldwide. And of course they didn't really like to hear that, but it was the truth. So you could only be correct, basically giving them closure that their capacity to clear wealth, cargo, vessels, bills of the ladings was no longer there. And they knew it. And then I put my system in place as a function so that others may join. On the same day, we went to Credit Suisse. We used our Keymaster functions, for they were flying keys above the doors, and they took us right into the bank president. I asked the bank president 2 questions. As soon as him and his attorneys disqualified themselves under a lack of knowledge, which means they didn't have procedural knowledge on what the mechanics were for them to be there, I got up and left the meetings. David stayed for another hour and a half, and I don't know what was said, nor do I care. We then proceeded to Charles de Gaulle Airport. At Charles de Gaulle Airport, because I did not have a passport, I had to go to Customs and disqualify the French Customs. French Customs called the Port Authority for Charles de Gaulle Airport. He was related to the family of Joan of Arc, who were key holders in France. They held up the plane for 3 hours so that the royal family from Joan of Arc could come down and talk to me and David about the grammar and get our autographs and get pictures with us. They rolled up in limousines, and they all jumped out in their nice fancy suits, and we had a nice conversation about keymaster, keyholder mechanics. They then took me through around the Port Authority for Charles de Gaulle Airport, personally walked me through customs. I did not have to stop. He walked me out of customs. As soon as I walked out of customs, he said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." The U.S. Navy stepped up to me, the computer programmer, asking me the questions about the sentence structure of the foreign vessel on the high seas, being he had a cause and effect, a possession and assignment in the sentence structure. What was he missing? I said he was missing the verb of thinking, but the thinking will never change the condition of the act. He said, "Say, you're him." We had a great conversation. I learned a lot of things that I would not discuss in public purview, classified, but left on really good terms with the guy, and enjoyed my conversation with him tremendously. When I got to the United States, once again, they gave me their customs declaration forms on the plane. I syntexed the customs declaration forms, for they were 100% fraud. Walked up to the counter, pulled out the flag. They called me over to secondary. I gave them closure on who I was and who I am. And they told me I was the richest man on the planet. Have a good day. For right now, and
We also have made treaties with the World Court at The Hague and the United States Supreme Court, and written amnesty agreements, as well as claims of the live life for the judges while studying and learning how to use the correct parse, syntax, grammar. And the different agencies of the military and the postal and other branches of government that make requests of us, we also issue amnesty agreements while they're studying to be correct. We're not here to hurt anyone or to embarrass anyone. We're here to fix the problem that has been going on for 8,500 years.